Okay, so I tried this earlier, recording it, and the app that I used only let me record 3 minutes and 20 seconds. And so I'm going to re-record it again, but we're outside this time. I'm hoping it's still quiet. At home, sometimes it's a bit loud. This is a paper that I found called Food for Thought, and about friendship. Jesus said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment, and the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. This is Matthew 22:37 through 39. The next few paragraphs I'm going to read were taken from Gospel Ideals by David O. McKay. Man's suspicion and lack of trust are among the greatest enemies of peace. This lack of confidence in one's fellow men is even more of an individual than a national vice. We are prone to magnify weaknesses and to imagine vices in others that do not exist. The soul is the fountain from which the peace of the world will spring. Centered in the heart also are the same enemies to peace: avarice, ambition, envy, anger, and pride. One of the distinctive traits of modern society in every country is the sinking of the moral ideal in the minds of life and of the people. The call is for men who will rededicate themselves to the principles of honesty, justice, tolerance, and love, and who will practice these virtues in their business and professional activities. True Christianity is love in action. There is no better way to manifest love for God than to show an unselfish love for your fellow men. So now it goes on to say, Kahlil Gibran said, you give but a little when you give of your possessions. It is when you give of yourself that you truly give. A famous doctor said, more psychotherapy is accomplished between two good friends at a coffee shop every morning at 10 o'clock than all day long in a doctor's office. A good talk with a close friend will solve problems, or at least put them in perspective before they become overpowering. One of the problems we face today is the scarcity of good friends. We have a good friend in Jesus. It is said that your best friend will not tell you. Okay, not so. Your best friend will tell you. It is the leeches. Get this. It is the leeches for your affection and your attention who will only pretend to be your friends, that will not tell you for fear of losing your friendship. They do not care about your eternal welfare, but only about feeding their selfish egos upon your attention to them. The one genuine friend that man has, man hung on the cross and hated. And it is often the case that we love our enemies and hate our friends, because our friends seek to help us, but our enemies seek to please us. It is almost always the case that those who flatter and patronize us care only about what we can do for them. So I'm grateful I found this, because there had been some issues in my life about me saying some things to a friend and them getting really offended and them not being my friend anymore. But wasn't saying anything to hurt them. I was just saying truth, doctrine, and it offended. Christ taught truth and doctrine with love all the time, and that's what I was hoping I was doing. I was praying that that's what I was doing. But that's okay that can happen sometimes. We can just love them unconditionally. That's what Christ did. He still gave himself, even though they hung him. And even if it's a family member or a friend, a close friend, that gets offended when we try to live truth and live differently because we're trying to focus on the gospel of Jesus Christ, and they get offended. It's just, we just love them. Just love them. And be yourself still. Still share truth. And I know that that's what Christ did. I know that that's what Joseph Smith did. I know that's what all these prophets did. They shared truth. They called people to repentance because they taught the doctrine. But they truly loved. Lehi did with his sons, and yet they still wanted to kill him. Laman and Lemuel did. So we just need to, and that was a family affair, right? And look at Joseph in Egypt, right? It happens inside the church and outside the church. And in Isaiah, it especially talks about inside the church. So I hope this was a paper of comfort, and I hope that you all have a wonderful, happy day, and I hope it wasn't too windy. Bye-bye.